Running in right in front of us now, please welcome the fabulous Starlings. Brand new just a couple of years ago to the air show scene and content, and really startling and amazing crowds throughout the country. These two guys right at the top of their tree, Tom Cassells and Michael Picking. Both of them former British aerobatic champions, and as you can see, already well into what is a really it's a masterclass really of close formation pairs aerobatic display. High octane stuff to come yet. This is merely just a warm-up, and you'll see a huge number. Hoping to restart this now. Here we go, back with the Starlings. Now I mentioned they're both previous British aerobatic champions, and they've got a combined experience of well over 50 years in air shows and competitions. They've literally flown all over the world, both as a team, sometimes appearing as part of the Global Stars, but frequently as solo acts. But these two now just showing us just how experienced they are, very tight, and it's just a wonderfully satisfying thing to both fly and to watch pairs aerobatic displays. Featuring two aircraft, you notice they are slightly different, and in this familiar element of intermittent smoke, which is used as a form of skywriting by many aircraft in the genre today. Similar performances in many ways, but one is actually an extra 300 NG and the other is a CAP 232 aircraft. More about those in just a minute. Putting up here, putting in a little bit of a twist, but looking over the shoulders. They come up to the top of the loop, you look back over your shoulders to ensure that your wings remain level with the horizon.
Hello.
And through these maneuvers, of course, to ensure they stay at a self-distance, pulling a fair bit of G manoeuvre. Now you can see the impressive roll rate of both these aircraft. And going into individual movements, but operating still as a formation on the calls of the leader. Here's another stall turn coming in. Big bit of rudder turning over on the side of the aircraft. Coming in now for a high-speed crossover. Putting that G on again. Rolling as they go upwards. Bringing back the power a little bit and just pulling the aircraft over on its back and then using that altitude to create more speed and energy. Down to 20 degrees a second and strengthened to plus or minus 10 G. That's pretty impossible to fly without the assistance of additional mitigation gear. Oh, just look at that, just delightful the way that aircraft hangs in there. A lot of activity going on in the cockpit as well, of course, sticks and rudders and things. And of course the power on and off to manoeuvre that. It's great flying and wonderful freedom to be able to do that. Tom got his first license back, and now just look at this beautiful sight. Well, it's a wonderful knife edge slide. So there, all the one hanging in his straps with the blood rushing to his head, whilst the other just offset slightly. Bit of a fudge, we call that in the business. Flying straight and level. Rolling out at the end of the run there. Tom won his first aerobatic competition back in 1992, and we're just passing our grateful thanks to the team and Our apologies, of course, for the interruption there. We just had to obviously cut that. The right Air Force, Typhoon. This machine compared to early generation, second and third generation jets is just how small an area that is able to display this piece of astonishing architecture. Now the weather just absolutely stunning for this machine, and you can appreciate the glory of it. Utterly fantastic, a massive amount of weaponry. The Titan team up in the military village, so make sure you go and have a chat with them, take a lot as well. They can tell you about the careers. And not just flying these, but of course supporting them, and they are equally as important as the man up front. Really straight, and many of them are putting this in a most unusual configuration. Now, given the speed that this aircraft normally flies, it's now coming right back to around about 120 knots in what we call a high alpha. So if you put those up any more, the wind going over the wing would break away from the surface, and that would cause a stall. But here now, getting a bit of help from his digital assistant as well, those canards working overtime. Burners coming back. RAF as direct entrance, undertook elementary flying training on a Grog Tutor. Now that's an aircraft we're going to see later on. And then streamed to fly fast jets, flew the Tucano T1, and then went on to the Hawk, also advanced jet trainer, before flying a Tornado GR forward. Here we go! Ladies and boys and girls, is the way to leave an air show, isn't it? So, absolutely outstanding stuff. Well, this one's painted yellow, which helps even more because you can see now as it pulls up on the right-hand side what a splendid aircraft is, and also one with superb visibility. In the hands of Rod, who's been flying for a huge number of years, a very affable chap and a very experienced man. He earned his spurs in the Royal Air Force, flying the Hunter and the Jaguar, and believe it or not, he was the Strike Command Hunter display pilot at Royal Air Force China way back in the early 70s. And he performed over 50 public displays and won one of the early awards, then as the WD&H Wheel Solo Jet Display Champion. And what a difference, what a contrast, but to flying a Typhoon. But this is the sort of aircraft, not the one you would fly today. Are they? Well, I'm going to give you a big tip. If you're in down the beach towards Woodvale, I think you might just pick them up first. And if you're up the top end near Banks, you might just see them last. So a great opportunity now for a massive Southport Mexican wave, the Red Arrows! Stuff indeed. Well, while do yonder, and we'll just settle back and reset everything here now to start the airshow properly in just a few minutes. Low and fast, Clive Denny in the fabulous Hurricane. It's a superb aircraft, and this is a great specimen, one of the classic fighters of all time, designed and built for war. And it was at the forefront of Britain's defence in 1940, playing a major part in achieving victory. And in the stable of Sir Sidney Cam, now one of the many notable aircraft designers of his day, you recall Mitchell with the Spitfire and Roy Chadwick with the Lancaster, all had extraordinary careers. And but Cam he had paying tribute to 302 City of Poznan Squadron. At the same time, it's also commemorating two particular pilots, Tadeusz Czlopik. Despite bailing out, sadly he was killed, was just 32 years old. He's buried in Sutton Road Cemetery in Southend-on-Sea. The same day, Julian Kowalski was flying Hurricane Papa 3935. Destroyed a Dornier 17 and damaged another. He went on to command 302 Squadron, and in April 1944 commanded #1 Polish wing from RAF North, remained in England, worked for an agricultural company and lived in Ipswich until his death in 1986. Give please Clive and this fabulous Hurricane G. Hurry with his 302 Squadron markings a fabulous Southport wave and farewell.
The wingover is a combined pitching and rolling maneuver used to turn the flight path through 180 degrees. You'll notice that every wingover is slightly different, as DJ carefully selects his path for differing wind conditions and aircraft energy states. The Tutor has a top speed of 212 miles per hour and can achieve a maximum plus 6G, meaning that the pilot is subjected to forces 6 times stronger than gravity. While not as fast as Loud or the Typhoon you saw earlier today, displaying the tutor requires careful energy management due to its low power to weight ratio. DJ now uses another wing over to regain as much energy as possible as he sets up to perform his next manoeuvre. Since 2022 to celebrate a fantastic charity. The Benevolent Fund supports Royal Air Force personnel, air cadets, veterans and their families whenever they're in need. We're proud to raise awareness for a charity that gives to so much of the RAF family. For those of you that are considering going to university, there are 15 university air squadrons across the UK. The tutor is capable of sustained inverted flight, which DJ will now demonstrate on this inverted pass. Sat at -1G and hanging in his straps, this is not a comfortable position to be in as blood rushes to his head. Rudder and aileron inputs in order to keep the lift vector pointing upwards. This prevents him from descending towards the ground. DJ will now bring the tutor around for his departing wave. This is another great photo opportunity. Make sure you give a big wave to your local boy as he flies through. He can see you. And a big thank you to Southport for hosting us today. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the 2023 Royal Air Force Tutor Display.
What a wing waggle that is. Come on everybody, give him a massive wave. Remained in England, worked for an agriculture company and lived in Ipswich until his death in 1986. Give please Clive and this fabulous Hurricane G. Hurry with his 302 squadron markings a fabulous Southport wave and farewell.
And one we hope will stay with you long after this display. Today's display will comprise of the Lancaster, the Hurricane and the Spitfire. All based at RAF Coningsby in Lincolnshire since 1976. We are a regular flying squadron of public relations and training personnel who all work tirelessly behind the scenes. The specific aircraft we have displaying for you today are Hurricane PZ-865, Lancaster PA-474, Spitfire AB910. Neither Margaret, the pilot, or the aircraft were harmed. display today is Avro Lancaster PA474, which is only one of two of these iconic four-engine heavy bombers still airworthy, out of nearly 7,400 that were built. An absolutely staggering number.
Stand here.
Was built at the Vickers Armstrong Broughton
still pretty segregated.
To help and support us and the Lincolnshire Lancaster Association. Membership to either organisation offers behind-the-scenes information throughout the year and both directly support the flight in everything that we do.
And the monoplanes of the early years of aviation, representing the Royal Flying Corps, the Royal Naval Air Service, the US Army Air Service, and of course, the Imperial German Army. Displaying for you now a carefully choreographed sight recreating the sound of a typical whirling dogfight as you would have seen if you'd been sheltering in the trenches of the Western Front well over 100 years ago. Already one hit has been made there, the smoke streaming from the aircraft, and here we are heading for a head-on confrontation. The 5 aircraft here today. Repositioning now, not quite closing, but towards the end, a great opportunity, boys and girls. Do give them a wave. They can see you really, really clearly, these pilots. Great bunch of guys. Matt's flying the Ultra well. Peter Bond in the Fokker, one of the Fokker triplanes. John Gamage in the SC5. Will Greenwood in the other triplane. And John Gilbert in the Newport. Deeply rescued me from what was a very exhausting day yesterday, just getting here and setting up enough to get the show on the road today, and I just had to be desperate to watch the rugby. But here, on your right hand side, coming in, Pete Walker, 30 in the strike line. And a very sporting arrival that is as well. And you want to know who 30 is? Well, he's called Ian Brent. He was in there yesterday, just getting here and setting up enough to get the show on the road today, and I just had to be desperate to watch the rugby. But here, on your right hand side, coming in, Pete Walker, 30 in the strike line. And a very sporting arrival that is as well. And you want to know who 30 is? Well, he's called Ian Brent. He was available today. The Jet Promise goes right back into the 50s, and that's not when I started, by the way, if you're trying to guess. But it was some decades after that. But nonetheless, the Jet Promise, as it became a training aircraft, well known, particularly the Mark III, first ordered in 1970, right through. What you're looking at here, however, is the top end of that particular family of aircraft, built by the British Aircraft Corporation, just up the coast here of Lancashire, and labelled the BAC-16, as I say, the super sharp 5-star equivalent of that very early breed of Jet Promise. Successful aircraft and strengthened in order to provide impressive combat capability. Tough and reliable, got an armoured cockpit, a single but robust Rolls-Royce Viper 535 engine, giving it around 3,500 pounds of thrust. That, however, although not sounding very much, it was 1,000 more than you would have got on a normal JP Mark V. All the controls are manual, no hydraulic assistance. Carry a variety of armaments, including 2 machine guns, up to 500 pounds bomb, or 32 Sura rockets. The aircraft is also capable of carrying up to 475-gallon underwing fuel tanks as well, and it achieved considerable export success. And whilst none of these were ordered by the Royal Air Force, 146 were built altogether and exported to Saudi Arabia, Oman, Yemen, Ecuador, and New Zealand. Particular one, got an immaculate colour scheme, as you can see, and was in service with the Royal Air recently been granted permission by the CAA to conduct private passenger flying, and they'll be doing that with a company called Aero Legends, based primarily out of an airfield at North Wales. Good chance to give me a wave now as you come in a little bit slow. High-level departure. And you just hear the air traffickers there. That is complete, and he's shooing off back just down the road. In fact, I suspect he's probably based out of Prestwick. Earlier today, he's coming in. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Team Raven. Now we're dropping in and out of the cockpit here because once again the voice and the cadence is absolutely essential. So their first manoeuvre, completing their the train. They're coming up. And look at that, the sun just catching them beautifully against the grey sky. An absolutely brilliant contrast. Great day for photography. Now, as they go out to the right-hand side here, they'll call a break, and the 4 central aircraft will form into box formation, and whilst they're manoeuvring, you will see Williams, of course, John Williams. Will never forgive me for that, but larger-than-life character. Absolutely outstanding chap. They're all extremely affable, all massively experienced, but Gerald in particular, having a quick chat last night about the rugby, because he is formerly a professional rugby player and has played in Wales, New Zealand and South Africa. Now a very successful businessman, but he's been flying for a good 25, 30 years now. Super graceful manoeuvres, aren't they? I hope you're enjoying this as much as we are. Keep your eyes to the left as well, though. Once 4 and 5 complete this manoeuvre. Smoke is on for the left-hand side. They're now in big formation, you see, with Ravens 1, 2 and 3. As 4 and 5 pass underneath, number 6 pulls up and enters the cyclone. Raven 6 is Mark Southern, marked by trade and airline pilots with, again, massive amount of experience, predominantly on the Boeing 75 and 767, but also recently on the Airbus 320 and 330 as a training captain. In their Delta, they'll be pulling up for the vertical split. Let's have a listen in. Now. 4 and 5, brake, go. So, both elements, 4 and 5 braking off to reposition for their opposition passes, whilst the remaining aircraft, very graceful manoeuvre. Throttling back, rolling down. You notice just how smooth and clear that command is. That's the voice of Sid Shirley, the team leader. Of course, himself also on the other side, putting in the command to roll. And it's very twisted, harder work for the guys on the outside, of course, but the team leader's job is to keep the speed and the direction absolutely spot on. And then so the others can just totally concentrate on following his great command. So now there's the little twist and echelon fall away right at the end of that.
5 points, good work.
And I think you'll agree that was an excellent echelon they got themselves in before then starting that manoeuvre. A real pleasure to watch. Right alongside there's number 3, Barry Quinn. Operated in Germany. Tony De Bruyne with the Bronco. As a target tug, 18 of those were produced. It was, however, in its operations in combat zones that this aircraft is really famous. Going through a series of different profiles, we'll get examples of the fantastic short takeoff and landing capability of this aircraft. Well used, very rugged, able to be flown off dirt strips and roads, and also requiring predominantly less than 200 to 300 meters most of the time. You'll see it demonstrate its ground attack profile as well as its agility in the sky and its marvellous design and supply in later years to Morocco, the Philippines and Colombia. Repositioning now, I suspect we are going to see one of his strafing attacks very shortly. This is a good example of observing from altitude Yeah, here he comes in now. Stick forward, throttle coming on. You can imagine now the gunfire as he pulls up to avoid the small arms fire coming up at him. Chipmunk coming into straight flows a bit nearer now to the pier. Flown a lot of Garrett engine hours flying this, but also manages a short skyvan as well, used mainly in the military parachuting role for all arms around Europe. As an aviation photographer himself, as he comes in for another straight run, this time looking menacingly through my window. Oh, close shave. He uses this briefly in Kingsman, the Secret Service. But this, I think, is favourite aircraft, a lovely parabolic topside pass there, where he got a good look at you guys down there on the beach.
As they line up on the datum for today's display, they begin their pull-up for the 2023 Royal Air Force Chinook display. Completes its pedal turn and brakes left to set up for the next manoeuvre, the offset wingover. This year's display pitches the aircraft up to 50 degrees from the horizontal before bunting over the top of the climb and diving the aircraft back down towards their display hard deck of 100 feet. As he rounds out and begins the second climb, you can hear his Chinook's two 5,000 shaft horsepower engines offering up a massive chunk of their performance to help him climb over the top. He's pushing all 15 tons of spinning metal to its limit as he dives it back down towards the hard deck for a second time. As he repositions for the next manoeuvre, I'll introduce his co-pilot sitting on the left. The Chinook has proved its mettle time and again, overcoming the unrelenting heat of the desert and conquering the darkest of nights. The unrivaled combination of power, agility and endurance has enabled the Chinook force to deliver on time and on target, irrespective of what is asked of it. It is inextricably linked with the modern battlefield, where it became known as the Flying Hospital. And here we'll see a demonstration of one of the manoeuvres that was developed to help the aircraft land as quickly as possible with the nose down quick stop. Jim and JJ will turn the aircraft on a sixpence, bringing the aircraft to a stop and enabling a quick landing, put the hospital onto the ground and help out the troops. Now our Wizop's a little shy today, so let's give him a big cheer and he might come and join us on the ramp. You can see him making his way towards the edge with those iconic hands thanks to your encouragement. Operating those orange hands today is Sergeant Josh Tomlin. Josh is an Essex boy who left school and joined the RAF to be an air traffic controller. After a short stint in that challenging role, he decided to turn his hand to being a Chinook weapons system operator. He's undertaken operations in Mali and the Middle East. He's known as Long Boy on 18 Squadron because he's got disproportionately long arms, which lend himself to this role. He is absolutely perfect for operating the orange hand. As they complete the wave along the beachfront, they begin strapping in and preparing for the Gurney corkscrew to bring the blade flap that our display is so famous for. Simply lovely, I'm sure you'll all agree. There's an awful lot more to the Chinook Porto than just the aircrew and the engineers that have helped get that Chinook in the sky today. Every trade in the RAF exists. Countless other trades in the RAF whose efforts all too often go unsung provide vital input to the unwavering delivery of the Chinook Porto's capability. The crew are now running in from the right for a quick stop, showing just how quickly the Chinook can be stopped if required. crew are using those two 60-foot distances of massive air brakes to bring the aircraft to a halt. And from a stable hover, they could dispatch troops, drop down wires, or winch someone up that was on the ground. And to complete our 2023 display, they will conduct an over-the-shoulder departure. Please give our whiz up a big wave back as they complete the display, departing rearward. It has been an honour to display the Boeing CH-47 Chinook for you and bring the blade flap to Southport beachfront. If you have any questions about the Chinook Force or the RAF more broadly, please come to find us in the military village. We'd love to answer